Protagonist selected: Rear Admiral Jesse B. Oldendorf, U.S. Navy 7th Fleet, as the commander who deliberately executed and proved America's radar-guided night fighting doctrine at Surigao Strait. His decisions turned theory into annihilation. You do not fight decisive naval battles at night. For generations, this is the rule everyone lives by. Fleets need daylight. Gunnery needs visibility. Commanders need to see the enemy to control chaos. In the dark, confusion multiplies. Formations dissolve, and even the most powerful warships risk firing blindly into nothing. The Imperial Japanese Navy believes this rule more deeply than anyone alive. They are masters of the night, trained for it, obsessed with it, proud of it. Their destroyer crews rehearse night torpedo attacks until they can launch by instinct alone. Their cruisers practice firing spreads in darkness using stars, wake patterns, and discipline drilled into bone. At night, they believe the Americans are blind, nervous, uncoordinated, dangerous only by accident. So the rule hardens into certainty. You do not challenge Japan at night. You do not bring battleships into darkness. And you certainly do not try to control a fleet action when visibility drops to zero. Because no one can see. No one, except now someone can. By 1944, quietly, invisibly, the United States Navy has broken the rule without the enemy noticing. They have learned how to see in the dark, not with eyes, but with pulses of radio energy. With radar screens glowing green in steel rooms below decks, with fire control systems that calculate range, bearing, and speed faster than any human mind. Japan does not believe this matters. They still believe night belongs to them. But in October of 1944, in a narrow strait in the Philippines, one American admiral is about to invite the Imperial Japanese Navy into the dark, on purpose. And Japan will never understand what hit them. You are Rear Admiral Jesse Bartlett Oldendorf. You are 57 years old, older than most of the men you command. A career Navy officer who joined before World War I, survived the interwar years, and watched doctrines rise and fall. You are not flashy. You are not loud. But you are methodical, precise, and utterly confident in preparation. You command Task Group 77.2 of the U.S. 7th Fleet, 6 old battleships, 8 cruisers, 28 destroyers, and dozens of smaller craft. These battleships are veterans themselves. West Virginia, Maryland, Mississippi, Tennessee, California, Pennsylvania. Ships that survived Pearl Harbor. Ships raised from the mud, repaired, modernized, and fitted with radar that can see targets more than 20 miles away. You know exactly what they can do. In October 1944, the United States launches the invasion of Leyte to begin the liberation of the Philippines. It is one of the largest amphibious operations in history. Hundreds of ships, thousands of aircraft, more than 170,000 troops going ashore. Japan responds with a desperate, complex counterattack, Operation Shogo. 3 separate Japanese forces converge on Leyte Gulf from different directions, hoping to overwhelm American defenses through confusion and sacrifice. From the south comes Vice Admiral Shoji Nishimura's force. 2 battleships, Yamashiro and Fuso, 1 heavy cruiser, and 4 destroyers. They must pass through Surigao Strait, a narrow channel only about 25 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, hemmed in by islands. You are waiting for them. You understand the stakes with absolute clarity. If Nishimura breaks through, he reaches the invasion beaches, transports full of soldiers, ammunition ships, hospital ships, a massacre. But you also understand something else. Surigao Strait is a funnel, a corridor, a place where numbers and maneuver matter less than geometry and timing. And you have something the Japanese do not understand. Radar. Not just detection radar. Fire control radar. Radar that feeds directly into gun directors, allowing your battleships to aim and fire without ever seeing the enemy. Radar that works in rain, smoke, and total darkness. You have spent months training for this moment. Destroyers practicing coordinated torpedo attacks by radar contact alone. cruisers rehearsing night engagements with synchronized fire, battleships learning to fire full broadsides at targets they cannot see. You have drilled one idea into every captain under your command. This is not chaos. This is choreography. On the night of October 24th into the early morning of October 25th, 1944, Nishimura enters Surigao Strait. You are ready. And now, the rule is about to die. The night is moonless, clouded, black. At 22:36, American radar operators detect the Japanese southern force entering the southern mouth of Surigao Strait. Blips appear on green scopes, faint at first, then steady, then unmistakable. Distance, over 30,000 yards. You do not move your battleships. Instead, you unleash the first layer. American PT boats swarm forward. Small, fast, wooden craft armed with torpedoes. They dart in and out of darkness, attacking, reporting contacts, forcing the Japanese to maneuver, to break formation, to fire wildly into the night. The PT boats score no confirmed hits, but they do something more important. They map the enemy's movement, every turn, every change in speed, every hesitation. At 1 o'clock, you release the destroyers. 28 American destroyers split into attack groups, advancing from both sides of the strait. Their radar screens glow. Targets lock. Torpedo solutions calculate. You are not guessing. At 1:16, the first American destroyers launch. Torpedoes leap from tubes, Mark 15s, running silent, invisible, deadly. Spreads of 10, 12, 15 at a time. They run toward radar coordinates, not silhouettes. Japanese lookouts see nothing. Then the night explodes. At 1:27, Fuso is hit. Then hit again. Torpedoes slam into her hull, ripping steel, flooding compartments. She slows. She falls out of formation. Smoke pours upward, backlit by fire. Destroyer Yamagumo is struck and detonates, vanishing in a towering explosion. Michishayo takes hits and slows, burning. Nishimura presses on. He believes this is harassment, skirmishing. He does not know what waits ahead. Your destroyers withdraw. They have done their job. Now comes the killing ground. You deploy your cruisers across the northern end of the strait, firing intermittently to fix the enemy's attention. The Japanese see gun flashes ahead. They assume these are cruisers engaging by sight. They do not know what stands beyond. At 3:16, your battleships are in position. 6 battleships form a line across the strait, perpendicular to the Japanese approach. You have crossed the T. This is textbook naval warfare. The oldest maneuver in the book. Your ships can bring all their guns to bear. The Japanese can fire only their forward turrets. But this time, it is happening in total darkness. Radar ranges tick down. 22,800 yards, 21,000 yards, 19,000 yards. You wait. At 3:52, USS West Virginia opens fire. Her 8 16-inch guns roar as one. The sound is physical. A rolling concussion that slams through steel decks and into bone. Radar-directed fire control solutions guide the shells. 30 miles per hour, 1 ton each. Invisible arcs of destruction. Seconds later, Maryland fires. Then Tennessee. Then California. Then Mississippi. Then Pennsylvania. The night turns white. Shells crash into Yamashiro. Towers of flame erupt. Her superstructure disintegrates. Turrets jam. Fires rage uncontrolled. The Japanese fire back, blindly. Their shells splash harmlessly short or sail overhead into darkness. They cannot see you. You see everything. Range, 17,000 yards, 15,000 yards, 13,000 yards. Every salvo walks closer. Radar operators adjust calmly. Gunnery officers call corrections with measured voices, while steel monsters tear themselves apart in the dark ahead. Yamashiro is hit again, and again, and again. Her speed drops. Her list increases. Her radios fall silent. At 4:09, a final torpedo from a destroyer slams into her port side. She capsizes. Vice Admiral Nishimura goes down with his flagship. Out of his entire force, only one destroyer escapes. The battle is over in less than an hour. Not a single American battleship is hit. Pause. If you find this kind of forgotten history as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. We believe these stories of courage, sacrifice, and genius deserve to be told. And by subscribing, you help us ensure they aren't forgotten. What Japan does not understand at first is that Surigao Strait is not an isolated disaster. It is proof that the night no longer belongs to them. Proof that radar-guided gunnery has rewritten naval warfare. Proof that doctrines built on eyesight and tradition are now obsolete. Surigao Strait becomes the last battleship-versus-battleship engagement in history. And it ends in annihilation. Japanese naval command reels. Reports describe ships exploding without visible enemies. Crews firing blindly into nothing while shells rain down with impossible accuracy. From this moment forward, Japanese surface forces avoid night engagements with American fleets whenever possible. The psychological impact is devastating. At Leyte Gulf, Japan loses 4 aircraft carriers, 3 battleships, 10 cruisers, and 11 destroyers. It is the decisive naval defeat of the Imperial Japanese Navy. They will never again mount a coordinated fleet action of this scale. And the reason traces back to one night, one strait, one admiral who trusted the machines his enemy dismissed. Jesse Oldendorf survives the war. He retires as a vice admiral, quiet, professional, never boastful. He knows what happened at Surigao Strait. He knows it will never be repeated. Many of the men who served under him were barely out of high school. Farm boys from Iowa, dock workers from Brooklyn, mechanics from California. Thousands of them manned radar screens, gun mounts, engine rooms, doing jobs that did not exist a decade earlier. Some never went home. To this day, Surigao Strait stands as a line in history, the moment the dark stopped protecting those who relied on it. And that matters now, because technology always changes war before people understand it. Because arrogance still blinds commanders. Because believing the enemy cannot do what you cannot imagine is still the fastest path to disaster. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state. And tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Jesse Oldendorf and the thousands of sailors of Task Group 77.2 do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.